Welcome back to the channel, guys. Today I wanted to talk about an interesting thing that's happening in the game where, on the one hand, CG is saying in these Q&As that they're not going to do anything about the gear crunch. They're like, we're happy with the gear crunch. We're not going to do anything, blah, blah, blah. But then we get all of these new assault battle tiers that actually are going to be really, really helpful for the gear crunch. And I haven't seen a lot of videos on these or anybody praising CG for this stance. But, the challenge tier 1 on these assault battles is giving you 20 Kyrotech salvage, 10 of each. And these are tiers that most people can probably do if you've got those teams geared up, because in general, the assault battles are content that you want to be able to complete because it gives you shard chop currency and it gives you omegas and stuff. So you definitely want to complete those. And it's characters like Jedi or Night Sisters or droids or whatever. These are factions that most people have. So point is, you're going to be able to do the challenge mode tier 1, maybe not as much tier 2, but I think those are definitely going to be things that we're going to want to get at, and because not just because of the Zetas and the relic materials, which I think are great as well, but the gear crunch here. So when I go look at the calendar, we see something like 6 or 7 assault battles every month, right? So if we're doing, let's just say 6. So if we get 20 Kyrotechs every assault battle, times 6 is 120. That's 4 Kyrotechs per day. So that might not seem like a lot, but that's more than we get from the daily box. And if you consider a lot of these characters that we're going to need between the daily box and the assault battles, that means we're going to get 220 Kyrotechs a month just passively, almost just passively, right? Because you're going to be able to complete most of these challenge mode tier 1s, as far as especially, the Rebel one and the Jedi and the Night Sisters. These are teams that if you're a veteran player and you're feeling this Kyrotech crunch, you're going to have these teams geared out. So they actually really are helping with the gear crunch, and in the grand scheme of things, that 120 salvage a month might not seem like a lot, but you're also getting 15 of the gear 12 finisher pieces as well. So you're really getting 35 salvage times 6, almost 200, probably something like 210 salvage per month additional, just for autoing an assault battle. So that's not something to take lightly. And what's going to happen is you're going to start to accrue these injectors and all this other stuff and the Kyrotechs faster than you can use them for a lot of people, depending on where you're at in the game. And I think that's going to be a really big help. So so it's strange to me that CG is not taking credit for this, because it really is a big deal. And I know for me personally, it's nice to know that I'm gonna have a steady influx of these gear pieces, and I don't have to farm them as much. I can focus on other things, and I'll have these kind of pieces sitting around. I've got almost 100 of those. I've got 75 of these. This one I'm a little light on. I've only got 5 of those, but that one's not needed by any real big characters, that maybe Echo. But these are all characters that I want to gear out, and I've got these pieces just lying around at this point. So I think that's going to be a really big deal, and I'm surprised that CG is on the one hand saying, "Hey, we're not going to do anything with the gear crunch. Gear crunch looks great," but on the other hand, oh, by the way, we're going to be handing you a lot of free gear. So what that amounts to, guys, is something like a 5% increase in our gear income, which might not seem like a big deal, but that means that, whereas you could gear up in a certain period of time, you could gear up 20 characters, and I can gear up 21 characters. So that's really not, it doesn't seem like that big of a deal, but once you start accruing this gear, you're going to find that it's going to be a lot easier to gear up characters, and it's going to allow you to focus your farming and stuff on other things. So I just want to point that out, and it really gives CG a pat on the back for these assault battles. This is something we've been asking for a long time, and it's definitely going to be a big boost, because the gear that they're giving us is really high quality gear, right? So if they have thrown these bonuses out and it was random, and you were getting like sometimes you would get like the Mark 10 like this gear salvage that people just don't need, right? But they're giving us these really high value gear pieces and allows us to focus on other things, and it kind of almost indirectly makes things like stun guns less of a big deal, because now you've got these other characters these other gear pieces that are more easy to get. So anyway, I just want to point that out and do a quick video on that, and I'm really happy with what they're doing here. And I did another video on these other relic materials. So I think getting to the challenge mode tier 2 is going to end up being really important too, to have a steady influx of these materials, especially these lower level ones, the carbonite circuit cards and the bronzium wiring. I did a video specifically on those, but it's going to be really really helpful to just have this steady flow of gear, and luckily most of the teams that you need for these assault battles are teams that you want to get anyway. You know, for Forest Moon, nobody's gonna be upset that they have to gear up their Grievous droids team. And there's kind of a kind of a team that can get that done with Thrawn and some other droids. But anyway, so you know, no one's gonna be mad that they have to do Night Sisters. It's a very versatile team. No one's gonna be mad to have to do Jedi or Rebels. These are all really good factions. So I don't think anyone's gonna be upset that they have to gear up their CLS Rebels or their you know, throw up some relics on their Jedi to get those tiers done. So anyway, I just wanted to point that out and say that kudos to CG for that, and it's gonna be really positive long term, and I'm hoping they continue to add more tiers of or more assault battles in general, because every time they do that, or even more if they run them more frequently, that'll just be a big help for the gear crunch. So anyway, I'm looking forward to the rest of 2020 to see what other things they're going to do, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks.